Hello! Ah! There we go.
Is sleepwear. Just thought I'd give them a nice pair of pyjamas, you know what I mean? Men deserve comfort sometimes. We've got athletic wear and swimwear, which don't deserve. Hey hands! How we all diddly doing? How's everybody holding up? Change of scenery, do not fret. This is my old can you see? Oh yes, hello. How are you doing? This is the old recording studio. Through that door was my old room. The original recording studio. This was my second recording studio at my family home. You might be getting more videos from here. I've been moved out of the garage and promoted. Oh, but I still live at home. I still live at my home, but I just have a set up at my parents too because it's a support bubble. I don't want to be alone. Today I am going back and revisiting The Sims 3 Generations because you know what? Someone tried to cancel me on Twitter because I called Boris Johnson tacky, which I stand by, and I'd say it again.
Fuck the government and fuck Boris, yeah.
But you know, it's been quite a stressful couple of days, so what I want to do is just play The Sims 3. And I don't have my green screen up here right now, so we're going old school. Oh, I'm about to fall asleep. I tried to get an early night the other night and I ended up someone tried to cancel me. I tried to get an early night last night and then about 11:30 I was like, what if I did just check archive of our own note? And then I ended up reading fanfiction till 1 o'clock in the morning. I just need to get used to the fact that my sleeping schedule is going to be fucked. Boom. Boom, 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 boom. Also, my dad wants me to give a shout out to his gaffer's daughters that are apparently a big fan of me. So, hello, how you doing? Oh, no, don't tell me I've deleted all my wilds. I've just, honestly, I spent a good couple of hours making sure everything worked and like installing shitloads of fixes. And if I've ended up breaking my game, you know what? I'm grand, honestly. It's loading suspiciously fast. You know when you're playing The Sims 3 and it's like, is this, oh wait, no, I was going to say, is this fast or is this crashed? Here we are anyway in Sunset Valley. Oh, wow. By the way, the fixes that I applied to my game, I just literally searched Sims 3 fix and it was the first one recommended on Steam. So that's that. So I'm going to be playing Sims 3 Generations today. I might make a series out of this. I might not. But The Sims 3 Generation is my comfort is my comfort game. And you know what? What if I make me and Mr. Darcy? What if I do? What if I did? And you know what? I'm just going to give myself my... Actually, that's my dream. I'm quite muscly because hypothetically I am a jock. I'm uncomfortable here. I am. Do you know what? I think The Sims 3 is amazing. I do. But I would like to maybe just tweak that statement a little bit. And I think The Sims 3 is amazing with custom content. Apparently we're going with this. I'm going to give myself the hair that I should have right now if I could be asked to dye my hair. Eyebrows, I don't pluck or comb my eyebrows, and I'm very lucky to have naturally good eyebrows because I'd be fucked if I didn't because I literally don't have a clue. And face shapes as well, I'm just not good at recognising faces. It's like if I haven't met someone, and I don't know if anybody else has this, I can't, like every single picture of them looks different to me. Do you know what I mean? So basically what I mean by that, because I just stopped talking and didn't take my thoughts any further, what I mean by that is I'm just not very good at making myself, because I wouldn't be able to draw me. Do you know what I mean? Right, neither of them beauty marks of mine. I like the fact that they call them beauty marks, because I call this thing a freckle, and then someone's like, no, it's a mole, and I'm like, what? My mum said it's a freckle. It's a freckle. Wait, hang on. I'm gonna have to make my family right and then leave the game and then install Generations, because this is supposed to be a Generations LP, isn't it? Why does my game hate me? I'm gonna make me and Mr. Darsons and then I'll catch up with yous. Hey hens, how we all diddly doing? How's everybody holding up? My editor Declan left a gap in here for me and put voiceover question mark, so I guess I'm here to fill in the voiceover. Thank you Declan for that. There's not much to tell you, but I've just smashed a fucking massive pizza into me. Shitloads of garlic sauce and all that. Oh, it was stunning. It was lush. But you know when you eat that much that like the thought of food knocks you sick and you think even if I'm on my deathbed I couldn't ask for a last meal because I feel that fucking greedy. That's my voiceover. You might not ask next time, Declan. I have returned. How are we all? Don't fret. I had a lot of fun. So this is my final attire. Oh, I feel like a proper 2013 Sims YouTuber, you know. This is my everyday wear. I've just got a little Halloween dress on. Nice little watch so I can always tell the time. This is my formal attire. I will be getting married to Mr. Darcy. This is my sleepwear. I thought with this one I kind of pull on the Harry Potter aspects of my personality, which is the majority of it. For my athletic, I did do this nice little two-piece set. I would wear this in real life. I am actually wearing activewear right now, but can't exercise because of the asthma, do you know what I mean? And then my swimwear is just this very nice little number. And my traits are childish, excitable, family oriented, loner, and never nude. Because I'm never naked, and my lifetime wishes to be surrounded by family. Oh, I got so fucking excited when I was doing the personality for this, you know. I really did give this some good thought. I did spend a good couple of minutes in this section alone. My favourite food is a veggie burger, which it is. Honestly, when I see veggie burger on the menu, I'm like, fucking get in. Favourite music is indie. Favourite colour is red. Actually, a lot of people think my favourite colour is pink or purple, and I don't know where they get that idea from. It's red for Gryffindor, don't get it twisted. And then Mr. Darcy's, this is his everyday wear, because I thought, you know, his everyday can be a bit more relaxed, you know what I mean? He's in good company, he trusts me, so this is his everyday. His formal wear, which is what he'll get married in. His sleepwear, just thought I'd give him a nice pair of pyjamas, you know what I mean? Men deserve comfort sometimes. We've got athletic wear and swimwear, which, that's, honestly, after everyday wear is about where I'll stop caring for men's outfits in The Sims 3. And you know what, as I should, because look at the everyday items that got included. I mean, I'm not being funny, but what the fuck? Mr. Darcy's traits are also family oriented. Good, grumpy, loner, and a snob. So I think that's all pretty accurate, and he wants to be living in the lap of luxury, because you know what, you can't change it, sorry. And I'll say it again. Oh look, we're taking math name. How's that for feminism, Mr. Darcy? I'm going to be girlfriend of, because I want to do the full bachelorette party, you know, despite the fact that I don't have generations installed, and despite the fact that I don't actually know anybody in this town. I might just I hate all of the Sims 3 houses though, that's the thing. Hate, double hate, loathe entirely. I don't actually mind this one. Do I want it furnished? I don't know. I also want to see if the mods that I installed for this game actually work, because one of the mods got rid of the bloom effect. You know, like when you've got lights in front of your countertops. Exit tutorial. I do not need it. Oh. I don't know, I just didn't ever expect to be presented with this kind of choice, do you know what I mean? I mean, I'm going to click accept, but in real life, I think we should cater to homeless people if they want it, and that's that. But you know the... Oh my god, it has got rid of it and all. There'd be this weird effect, like especially specifically on countertops. So let me just check the it would be specifically metal. Oh, it used to have such a bad bloom on the metal. Oh, look at it. Look at it. It's everything's perfect. It's perfect. Now I have nearly just fell off this chair. It's a dining room chair, and it's up here. But we're just going to swiftly move past that. Oh, let me get some lights on here, because I can't see. You know what? I want to get pets installed as well, and let's adopt a cat. Oh, Mr. Darcy, I'm going to teach you how to drive, babe. I'm going to teach you how to drive. Right, there's my house. We've got the sloppy jalopy. Who's this? Why here, ball, bitch, first of all? Oh, I'm so excited. I feel like I'm coming home. I'm coming home. Tell the world I'm coming home. I don't want to be friends with any of my neighbours, though. I'm going to be the talk of the town. I am. Right, anyway, let's save and quit. You naughty, naughty. You teasing me, you naughty, naughty. I had these all ticks, you know. I did. And then a pop-up came up, which I chose. I did take that decision to ignore the pop-ups that came up. Thought I was too powerful for him. There we are. Look at us. Who would have thought? Not me. Oh, there are fantastic new lots available. Yes, accept. I don't even know what I'm placing here. What's that? A dog park. All right. Oh, I thought it was called a rotate lot. Where am I living? Well, because I want all the action near me. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to have to fucking sloppy jalopy it across town. Oh, I'm over here somewhere. Right, I'll have it here. I just wish that I mean, they probably will let me know what it is. Oh, what's this? Cat jungle. I love that. I thought it was kids play park. That's fine. Put that there. It is telling me what is actually being placed. I'm just apparently choosing not to see it. Oh, there's a coffee house next to a live show venue. I'm so fucking excited here on this day until right now. What's this? private venue lot. That's nice. I don't want a big show venue because there's not enough space. Or do I just replace this one? Because I'm not going to go at the Lama Memorial Stadium. Oh, how do I replace Crystal Springs? I'll replace Crystal Springs. Crystal Springs. Took a couple of attempts, but we got there. Oh, you know what? I'm fucking renovating Sunset Valley. You best to believe it. Oh, I shouldn't have placed a supernatural hangout lot though, should I? Ah, shit. Jesus, how many lots are there? Am I even going to get to see my Sims? Are we done? Are we finitoed? Are we ready? Oh, wow. Oh, you know what? I'm coming to the park. Come on. There's no flowers. Oh, shit. Did I delete the flowers? Oh, why don't you come hunt for flowers? Oh, well. You know what? You win some, you lose some. You do. Oh, I forgot about how annoying the newspaper are. But I do like the option to delete them, though. I do. I do like that. There's a game going on at the stadium Jesse would probably love to check out. There's so much happening right now. Do I get us jobs? Oh, you know what? We'll join the investigation career. We will. Darcy wants to do the medical career. I did just read fan fiction where Miss Darcy was a doctor. But he also wants to join the stylist career. Oh, honey, this is not a Sims 3 Ambitions playthrough. And I want to join the culinary career.
Oh. You know, I was always dreaming about this place. I saw myself carrying you and walking along a path in the forest. But right after that, everything went dark and I couldn't remember the rest. I dreamed so often about this that I finally decided to come back and find answers. I wonder what the meaning of my dream is. Do you know, Sebastian?
Hey, Sebastian.
Growl.
The demon on Black Belt.
What's wrong, Sebastian? You seem weird. Angry meow. Angry meow. Jump. Run. Hey, Sebastian, wait. Where are you going? What's wrong, Sebastian? He's usually calm, but now he's acting strange. It seems like he heard something. I have to go after him. Okay, so we got an inventory and stuff. You can't jump in this game apparently. So let's just stick to the path. Ooh, deer. Oh. You actually can't move off the path. It doesn't let you go into the forest. There's invisible walls. I wanted to go pet the deer though. That's unfortunate. Oh, there's a you can't see it under my webcam, but there's a stamina bar in this game, so you can only run so much. So, with that being a thing, I'm assuming that there's gonna have to be something that is gonna chase me at some point. Because I also have an HP bar, so... of course, Sebastian entered a creepy cemetery. Love how it's magically getting dark. Oh. Nuns? When did they appear? They're new. Why do you look so much more mature than I? I do. What are you doing here? This place is dangerous. What do you mean? Do you see the mansion there? I heard strange rumors about the mansion. Something like strange noises and ghosts. Ghosts? Yes, I can feel it. That's why we're here, praying to hold the darkness from spreading any further. Please be careful. That's fine, for I have to find Sebastian. My cat. Cats' lives are greater than people's. I don't know what it is, but I always want to divert from the direct path. Oh, there's Kitty. Kitty, come here. No, Kitty, come back. Dude, he just ran through the wall. Bro, my cat. Come here. No. Oh, kitty, come back. Dude, he just ran through the wall. Bro, my cat is a fucking Chad. Kitty, come back. Okay, we teleported into this building. Oh. What was that? I saw what looked like a woman's shadow sitting in the chair. Got a battery. Can I sit in the chair with the woman? Why can only I see the back of my head in this mirror? Whatever. Got a battery. I'm assuming for my flashlight. Locked. I need to find the key. Yeah, I need to find the key. Okay. That's a very irresponsible place to keep your house key. Just out in the fucking whatever you call this. Unlocked. I don't need the flashlight right now. I feel like you do. I hope this light is enough to explore the mansion. There are 3 types of recovery items. Red Rose, Rose Water Potion, and Aquarium Rose Water Potion. Okay, well, I'm not low on health, so... Save point? Save game? Yes. Okay, so there's definitely death that can happen in this game. Locked door. You can access the map by pressing M. Start from here. Okay, so blue ones are the unlocked rooms, so I'm assuming I have to go towards where the question marks are then. You have no access to this area. Never mind. Go upstairs to the library, maybe. No, I can't go upstairs either. There's more guards blocking that. What's this? Heater room 1. Okay, cool. I'm a girl who lost my family from a war. 1 year passed after the war. Me and my sister lived a miserable life. In 1600, we met a beautiful noblewoman in a red dress who invited us to stay in her house, and her name was Bathory. The house was very big, and there were a lot of people there. Me and my sister live happily. Lady Bathory gives me lots of dolls, and one of my favorite dolls is the bunny doll. Several months later, at night, I start hearing strange noises, especially from the basement. That voice was so terrifying that it was like somebody was being tortured. There are many restricted areas in the house, so I can't explore them all. Excuse me, do you see my cat? Oh, I have a guest. Forgive me, this might look rude, but please help me find my doll and I can give you access to the library room if you give me my doll. Okay. Get her doll. With a note. Bunny doll in the white room, in the wine room. Where's the wine room? The wine room is way over there, so I'm gonna need a living room key. At least. I'm gonna need a living room and a dining room key, actually. Why would the cat be there? The cat can walk through walls. I think he can get wherever the hell he wants. She didn't answer my question, but her face is also very pale. Maybe she's a ghost who lives here, and I think the ghost only has a few memories after death. That's why she didn't answer my question. Yeah, let's go with that. I like how this girl is just so aware of what's going on. I didn't realize that was like an in-inventory thing. There's lots of like fresh food out here, which is weird. I can't know the collection of tea sets in it, but it looks like there's a missing teapot here. I probably need to find that teapot then. An empty cup. Got the teapot. Okay. You put the teapot on the cabinet. Yep, there we go. That unlocked the door. So I can interact with a lot of different things then. The switch is not working. I find it odd that there are lights, but no lamps. I saw a blue light too. What happened to that? A cabinet with a collection of porcelains. Hi. There's a save. Locked, but I don't see a keyhole on the door, so that's gonna be another puzzle then. Hello? Sebastian? Was that you? Beautiful painting. So the dining room is that way, but that's gonna be locked. So I have to go in here. Hello, Sebastian? Was that you that walked in here? I'm a proper lady, you hear? Oi, bruv. Hello, mate. I don't think it's a good idea to take the gun. It's too dangerous. You want to take the gun? Yeah. Okay, note to self, do not touch the gun. The gun is bad. And they said guns don't kill people. In 1601, Lady Bathory was seen to be aging and acting strangely. Her face was very pale, and sometimes she talked to herself. I was playing hide and seek with my sister. I saw Lady Bathory's room open, and then I entered the room. There was a lot of paper with writing that I didn't understand, and I also saw 4 goat heads on top of strange circles on the floor. A few minutes later, I heard footsteps toward Lady Bathory's room, and I immediately ran from her room. Oh, I see it. Dining room key. You can sprint for a long time, but it also takes a long time to come back, so... Unlocked. I assume there's nothing dangerous, like right next to the save points. There's a lot of food here. Is this place really abandoned? I feel something strange in this mansion. You knew it was haunted when you came in here. What do you expect? Sausage. I heard something weird. I'm hearing some scary shit. I can't forget what I saw in Lady Bathory's room, nor did I sleep well for several days. A week after that, 3 of my friends who were staying in Lady Bathory's house, one by one, started to disappear. I asked Lady Bathory, but she didn't answer my question. At night I started to hear screams again, but this time it was very clear that it was a woman's voice. I forced myself to follow the voice into the basement. At the time, the basement door opened and I saw 3 shadows of women floating like they were hanging by something. My body was shaking. I was so scared that I finally decided to leave the room. Alright. Hey. I'm walking here. North is the storeroom, and to the right is the kitchen. So let's go here first. Oof, this doesn't cry medieval torture. Hey, it's the doll. Let's read this first. Secret room behind the wall. Ooh. Press the button. You activated something. Hey. Ooh. Secret. I think I found the entrance to the wine room. Locked from the other side. Never mind, I did not find the entrance to the wine room. Well, fuck me. Okay, do I just need to, like, run away from that thing? Is that the gimmick? Yeah, I just needed to run. Okay, we're good. That doll was chasing me. I could feel something evil about it. It was fucking chasing you. Of course it was evil. The fuck? Not evil things do not chase you to kill you. Alright, well this direction is also not locked, so let's go in here now. Meat. A list of ingredients. It looks delicious, but I'm not hungry now. I wouldn't trust those eggs, bro. They're made of people. Pile of groceries smells bad. Oh, here goes the cockroach march. A lot of them fuckers. It's locked. Oh, okay, looking at the map, I can see, like, where the secret room was. That leads to the locked door to the wine room. So I do need to get into the storeroom to get into the wine room. So I need to find the key for that. Is there a key in here? Yeah, there's a key in here. Storeroom key. Okay. Okay, he doesn't attack me again. We're good. A desk with a lot of stuff on it. That's not a desk, that's a shelf. Boards. A broken clock. A desk. That's a broom. That's a shovel. See, when I just save, I feel a lot less nervous. And you guys don't? Do they hurt me? Oh yeah, they hurt me. Alright, this lady clearly had weird taste in dildos. And she stuck them all over the walls. Oh, the bodies hurt me if I touch them. I gotta avoid them. I'm gonna drink like one of my little mini rose waters. Ah. Please, bro. Come on, man. I shouldn't have came into this mansion being constipated. Found the doll. I guess I return to the little girl now? Yo, I got your doll, bro. Put the doll. Ah, it's my lovely doll. Thank you. Now you can access the library room, but please be careful. My sister might be somewhere in the library. Be careful? Is she gonna kill me? Oh, who am I kidding? Of course she's gonna fucking kill me. Sebastian, where are you? You know, I'd have to say I would go through all this for my cat. Unlocked. There gonna be some kind of cutscene? Or like the sister wanting to murder us? November, 1602 in the morning. Lady Bathory invited me into the dining room. I saw there were 3 glasses, filled with red crimson liquid. I thought it was wine, but smelled pretty fishy, so I was pretty sure it wasn't wine, which was my 3 friends' blood. It was a weirdly constructed sentence. Before I asked her what she was drinking, Lady Bathory smiled at me and she said, "This drink is a medicine for me." Then she told me that she had a strange disease which she said could only be cured by drinking the blood. I was silent to hear her words. Then she took a knife and sliced my cheek and then licked it. She said my blood was not ripe yet. I immediately lost my consciousness. So this chick adopts these kids, treats them well, you know, yada yada, eats their friends, and then waits until they're ripe enough to eat them? Is that right? Oh, she's gonna murder us. Let's go say hi to her, though. Yo. Hey, you alright? You alright there, bud? Well, you got a really dented up bat there, bro. Hey, you good? Are you gonna murder us, or, like, what's going on here? Oh, she's attacking us. Yeah, there she goes. Okay, yeah, she's finally trying to kill us. Bro, she's not the most... she's not the most abled person I've ever seen. I don't think her bat was bent up because she hit other people. I think her bat was bent up because she missed and hit the concrete. Doo-doo-doo. When I woke up, I was already in my room and I saw my sister sitting next to me and worried about my condition. I told my sister everything I saw from what I heard in the basement. What I saw in Lady Bathory's room, the loss of my 3 friends, and the red crimson wine that Lady Bathory drank. My sister laughed and didn't believe me, but she said she would try to talk to Lady Bathory about the strange voice I heard in the basement. A few days later, my sister disappeared. I was so panicked, sad, and angry that I immediately ran into Lady Bathory's room and opened the door. There I saw Lady Bathory sitting on her bed, holding wine and wearing... a necklace that looked like human eyeballs. I tried to count. There were 6 eyeballs. I firmly believed those were the eyeballs of my 3 friends. Alright. Some wicked shit, dude, I'm not gonna lie. Like, holy cow. I walked into Lady Bathory's room and saw she was using my friend's eyeballs as anal beads. It was a terrifying sight to behold, but I couldn't look away either. I was mesmerized and terrified all in the same time. Password. Bathory. Easily Bathory. I think the answer is Bathory. Yeah. Confirm. Incorrect! What? Oh, I needed a capital B. I think the sister's gonna be looming around in here now. Just a feeling. I'm on the 2nd floor, I think, right? I don't even know where I am on the map anymore. Let's just go through this door. That's a dead end. Oh, we touched something. Girl Diary, Volume 7. Every night after what I saw in the basement, I heard so many strange noises, like scratches on the roof, windows. Also, my sister was always knocking on the door, trying to talk to me in a creepy voice. She said she'd never hurt me. I opened the door, but I couldn't believe what she said, so I kept silent. I planned to leave the mansion early the next morning. Forgive me, sis. I hope you're fine staying here. She already dead, bro. You good, just leave. Sister became weird. I think Lady Bathory did something to her sister. I have to be careful. But meet Lady Bathory. She sounds dangerous. Oh shit. Oh. Could that be her? You can explore floor 2 now. Obtain ballroom key. So I guess the ghost of the little girl that told me, that gave me access to the library, is probably the one that wrote all these notes. And she's probably not a bad guy. She's probably just like a trapped spirit. Fuck off. She mad, bruh? She mad, bruh? You mad, bruh? Wait, do you know how to use stairs? Nah, you don't know how to use stairs. See you, bitch. Ah! Run! Oh, dead end! Fuck! Well, just shit. Here's something strange here. Oh! Hey, you bitch! Oh, dude, she's moving shit. That's not fair. Oh! No, you don't. Bitch. Ah, you fuck. Tit MILF. Oh, I got away from her. Nice. She disappeared. I think that bloody ghost was her sister. So she failed to escape from the mansion and died here. That was the sister? Wait, the disabled one with the baseball bat wasn't the sister? Alright, so we can head upstairs now. Okay, so then floor 2. Question marks to the right. Probably more inaccessible areas. So I can go to the bathroom and the guest room. Those are both unlocked, so probably have to go to one of those. Let's see what these question marks are, though. Area not available. Okay. Unavailable areas. Hot chocolate. Why is that chocolate hot? Okay, this is the guest room. I can go in here. I am a guest. Hello. Check the painting. You know, at least this girl isn't stupid like a lot of, like, little girls in these horror movies, or these horror, like, games, where they're like, oh, let's sleep in this room, it looks comfy. There's a switch behind it. Press it? Yes. You hear something unlock. So, I go down that way then. There's 2 rooms there, and then the bathrooms, which are unlocked. I feel like I should go to the unlocked bathroom first. Prevent any possible backtracking that I gotta do. Found a rose. Water's still flowing in this pipe. Maybe I can use it later. We're not taking a fucking shower here, dude. No way in hell. Have you never watched, like, the oldest horror movies in existence? Like, they will literally pour chocolate sauce down that drain to make it look like they're killing you. Do you want that to happen to you? No. Shout command. In order to use this command, you have to meet the right conditions. Whenever you see a blue circle appear on the screen, you can activate this command by pressing space. Shout command is very useful to lure ghosts, like wandering ghosts, to come to your position. Hide quickly after calling them to you. The spot where you use the shout command will determine how much time you have to escape or explore the area. Oh, this is gonna be annoying. Or... Oh, I apparently I'm hiding behind that. No, I want to read what's on the dress. I think she's just patrolling. 9? 7. She gonna walk this way? Yeah, there she goes. I'm assuming that's Lady Bathory. She gonna walk down the hall or walk past me again? Probably past me. Yep. Really? Oh, she's fast too, dude. Fuck, man. Ow! Oh, that fucking hurts. Really?
Hey friends, it's Akidears, and today I'm going to be uncovering The Ring. Most of you who have clicked this video have probably seen the 2002 version featuring Naomi Watts as the main protagonist. The film is directed by Gore Verbinski, and as many of us know, The Ring is the adaptation of the Japanese version Ringu, and Ringu is the film adaptation of the novel by Koji Suzuki, The Ring series. If you haven't seen the Japanese adaptation, it's by word of mouth that I think makes The Ring one of, if not the most famous Asian horror film in the world. You know, next to One Missed Call, The Grudge, Shutter, Carved, etc. I'm sure almost everyone who has clicked this video knows the premise of The Ring already. Rachel finds a cursed videotape that gives anyone who watches it only 7 days left to live, until they are killed at the hands of Samara, who climbs up a well and crawls out of the television to attack the victim. Many of us who have watched this film will never forget the disturbing images of the videotape, the well, and of course, Samara. But as far as anyone is concerned, no one has actually died watching the tape, and The Ring is nothing more than a film. Or is it? This is the first episode of a new series on my channel where I'm going to be breaking down urban legends, horror stories, and cases, mostly derived from Japan and on the internet. But I thought to kick this series off with a film that we all know and love, The Ring. As mentioned previously, it's common knowledge that The Ring most of us have watched is a westernized version of Ringu, but little do people know is that many of the events that happen in The Ring are inspired by real life. So sit back, turn off the lights, no hiding in the comment section, we're going full screen. To make things easier, we're going to be calling Samara by her Japanese name Sadako. In the film, Sadako is the main antagonist depicted as a very vengeful ghost seeking to kill after being wrongfully thrown into a well. Throughout Sadako's childhood, she's heavily experimented on and is proven to have psychic abilities and can show others what she wants them to see. She also has the ability to burn her thoughts onto physical objects such as the tree burned on the wall, or most importantly, the videotape itself. The books heavily go into the science experiments performed on her as well. With all that being said, this isn't something that the writer just made up. Let's look back. In the early 20th century, there was a psychologist whose name was Tomokichi Fukurai, an associate professor at Tokyo Imperial University. His obsession with clairvoyance and spiritualism was so taboo that he was forced out of the university in 1913. His work was called the Fukurai Affair amongst other psychologists, and they refused to document any of his research in textbooks. His name and work is still viewed They refuse to document any of his research in textbooks. His name and work is still viewed as taboo in psychology today. But why? Well, simply put, he believed in hypnosis and was obsessed with a thing called thoughtography, which is an ability to burn images from one's mind onto a surface. Sound familiar? And he believed it at a level that completely disregarded standard scientific methods, so his colleagues told him to basically get the hell out. That didn't stop him though, so he continued to heavily perform his research on 3 clients, and their names were Chizuko, Ikuko, and Sadako. Dr. Fukurai was more than convinced that these women were all the proof he needed to support his beliefs on thoughtography. One in particular interested him the most, Sadako. The writer of The Ring took this case and created Sadako Yamamura, aka Samara Morgan. The writer also used Chizuko Mifune, the other client that was used in the experiments, as inspiration for Sadako's mother in the movie, Chizuko. And now the well. Where does that come from? Well, here's the story. The well itself is inspired by an actual well.
Say hello to my new house.
Well in Japan called Okiku's Well. It's located at the base, inspired by an actual well in Japan called
I love this computer. There's a filled-in well in my backyard.
called Okiku's Well. It's located at the base of Himeji Castle in Hyogo Prefecture in Japan. Okiku's Well. It's located at the base of Himeji Castle in Hyogo Prefecture in Japan. And the story surrounding this well is one of the oldest.
That's what I'm learning. Japanese. She means or. Also means death.
In Japan, and it's no pretty one. This is the story of Okiku. Okiku was a servant who worked beneath the castle in the dungeon under a samurai named Tessan Aoyama. Aoyama was said to have fallen madly in love with her, and even promised to leave his wife for her if she agrees to go with him. Okiku refused him and continued with her work. One of her prime duties was to take care of the samurai's 10 valuable golden plates. One day, Aoyama, still angered by her rejection, decided to hide one of the plates and threatened to put the blame on Okiku for stealing it if she didn't go with him. Okiku still refused. Now there's 2 versions of the ending. In one, Okiku was so distressed at the situation that she threw herself down the well. In another, it said threw her down the well for rejecting him. Either way, Okiku's life ended in anger and betrayal. It was said that at night she would wake up and
He threw her down the well. That's what men do when women reject men.
haunt the samurai while in his bed and start counting the golden plates again. Ichimai, Nimai, Sanmai, Yonmai, Gomai, Rokumai, Nanamai, Hachimai, Kyumai. She would yell out in anger before reaching
I love this channel.
10 and go back to the well.
I love taking screenshots.
Kiku continued to haunt the samurai every night this way until he went insane. Now, I did see a website of someone who did take photos at Himeji Castle and tried to see if they could look down the well, and they claimed to have seen a sort of tunnel. There's theories that say that the well was either an escape route from the castle or a drainage, and that the folklore was created to keep people out of it. Funny enough, they also saw lots of money and threw it.
Always an escape route. Just in case the castle got raided.
Down the well, so maybe someone should go down there and collect it all.
Yeah, maybe. So I'm gonna visit this castle. Money.
It might be enough to pay for that 10th golden plate. Jokes aside, a sign not too far
Yeah, 111 Japan.
from the well does discuss the folklore's connection to the well and this tale becoming the inspiration for the ring. So what about the tape? Is that real? Well, unsurprisingly, no. That part was something that the writer did make for the story. Speaking of which, if any of you are ever interested in reading the novels Ring, Spiral, Loop, and I think there's two other ones, S and Tide, mind you that the Ring takes a very strange direction as soon as you jump into Spiral. I'm being blunt here, I don't think the rest of the books were worth it, and if you want spoilers or you don't care about them, stick around. If you want to skip the spoilers, you can go to this part in the timeline. So The Ring is the story we all know and love. The character ends off by finding out that in order to save themselves from the curse, they have to make a videotape and show it to someone else. But after that, we have Spiral and Loop, which are the sequels, and I honestly don't think that this story aged that well in the books. The Ring novel series goes from horror to science fiction to basically philosophy. Spiral follows different characters who find out that Sadako was infected with a virus, and this virus is revealed to be the true antagonist of the entire series. That's kind of Spiral in a nutshell. And then we go into Loop, which essentially throws out everything that you ever knew about the Ring out the window because it says that the entire series was just a computer simulation. What? Yeah. Apparently, Samara, the well, the videotape, it was all just a the well, the videotape, it was all just a simulation. None of it was apparently real. All just a simulation. That's Loop, which I think by this point they should just call it Whoosh, because that story just goes right over my head. So again, being blunt, I don't think that these books were necessary at all. It just took a really weird route, like with It, where if you just want the horror part, you can stop at the first one. That's okay. Sometimes I do wonder though, if the Ring was real, how would it play out with today, with social media and the internet and everything? Because no one watches VHS anymore. Would Sadako or Samara be more powerful because of social media? Or would it actually cancel her out and make her powerless because of the memes and the life hacks that would unveil after this video went viral? One would think that it would probably make her powerless, considering if all you had to do was create the videotape, then all you had to do was to upload Samara's video onto YouTube and just keep sharing the link, and we could all just collectively get together, start a Google Doc form, and just paste the link to this video every time any of us accidentally watch it. By this point, I feel like Samara's Ring video might actually become a meme on the internet, if it were real. If it were. So that is the Ring and its background. If you ask anyone in Japan about Okiku's well, more than likely they'll tell you to go to Himeji's ground. If you ask anyone, by this point I feel like Samaro's ring video might actually become a meme on the internet. By this point I feel like Samaro's ring video might actually become a meme on the internet.
There we go. There's Aki's Billy.
Internet, if it were real, if it were. So that is the ring and its background. If you ask anyone in Japan about Okiku's well, more than likely they'll tell you to go to Himeji's castle. There's some speculation that it's in other parts of Japan, but we'll never know. And now Detective Aki ends this case with a confirmation. Sadako was real to some extent. The well was real to some extent. And as far as a cursed video, no reports of that, but my research did point towards this channel and this video, that unless you share and like this video as fast as possible, you too will die in 7 days.
Here's your Mars side. She had a baby doll. I don't know what the baby doll's name is.
Where are my legs? Where you...
Hey, I'm Sapphire. Want to hear some? There's something dangerous abducting children in this area. Hey, I'm Sapphire. Want to hear something scary? You've heard of the Slender Man, but have you heard of the tall, slender woman? This next chapter is a Japanese urban legend called Hachishaku-sama, which means 8 feet tall. My grandparents lived in a small village in Japan. Every summer, my parents would take me there on holiday to visit them. The last time I saw them was the summer when I was 8 years old. My grandparents were inside the house and I was playing by myself outside in the backyard. I heard a strange sound. I didn't know what it was and it was hard to figure out where it was coming from. I was looking around, searching for the source of the noise, when I noticed something on top of the tall hedges that enclosed the backyard. It was a straw hat. It wasn't resting on the hedge, it was behind it. That's where the sound was coming from. Then the hat began to move. It stopped at a small gap in the hedge and I could see a face peering through. It was a woman.
Red eyes be the friendly. White eyes may the enemy.
But the hedges were high, almost 8 feet tall. I was surprised at how tall the woman was. I wondered if she was wearing stilts or some sort of huge high-heeled shoes. Then, a split second later, she walked off and the strange noise disappeared with her, fading into the distance. Confused, I got up and ran back into the house. My grandparents were in the kitchen drinking tea. I sat down at the table and told my grandparents what I had seen. They weren't really paying attention to me until I mentioned that distinctive sound. They both froze. Grandma's eyes grew wide and she covered her mouth with her hand. Grandpa's face became very serious and he grabbed me by the arm. "This is very important," he said, very intensely. "How tall was she?" "As tall as the garden hedge." "Where was she standing? When did this happen? What did you do? Did she see you?" I tried to answer all his questions as best as I could. He rushed out to the hallway and made a phone call. I couldn't hear what he was saying, but after he hung up, he walked out the door. "Grandma, what's going on?" "There is something dangerous abducting children in this area," she said. "We call it Hachi Shakusama. It takes on the appearance of an extremely tall woman and says, in a deep, Hachi Shakusama.
And I'm learning Japanese. I thought it was my father, Jason and Browning. It was a Slender Man come to life. He says he's 6'9". He's about 400 pounds. But I think he's 8 feet tall.
Shakusama. It takes on the appearance of an extremely tall woman and says,
Hello. Looks like I found his wife.
in a deep voice. "A long time in this area," she said. "We call it Hachi Shakusama. It's
Look, I found Heather Brooke West Browning. Slender Man's wife.
takes on the appearance of an extremely tall woman and says,
The real Heather West Browning is 32. So Julian Browning's wife. Gotcha. And she's actually very shorter than my father's Jason and Browning. December 13th, 1970. He's 51. March 18th, 1989. Heather West Browning, she's 32. I'm 29 years old. August 29th, 1992.
in a deep voice. "A long time ago, it was captured by monks and they managed to confine it in a ruined building on the outskirts of the village. They trapped it using 4 jizo, small religious statues that they placed at the north,
Jizo, huh? Jizo.
south, east, and west of the ruins so that it could not escape. But somehow, it did. The last time it appeared was 15 years ago. My grandmother said that anyone who saw it was destined to die within a few days. It all sounded so crazy. I wasn't sure what to believe. Just then, my grandpa came back, but with an old woman who called herself Keisan. They took me upstairs to my bedroom and began covering the windowman who called herself
Unpsychic. Green and post-cognitive.
Kason. They took me upstairs to my bedroom and began covering the windows with newspaper, with ancient runes written all over them.
Ancient, huh? I love ancient. There was actually native Japanese people and they were forced out by the people.
Kason placed small bowls of salt in all four corners of the room and a small Buddha figure in the center.
Soon the sun will be setting, so listen carefully. You must stay in this room until 7:30 tomorrow morning. Do not open this door for any reason.
She placed a bucket in my hands.
Not even to use the restroom.
My grandparents and Kason left the room and I locked the door after them. I couldn't believe what was happening. Was I really going to die in a few days? I turned on the TV to try to take my mind off everything and eventually fell asleep. I was awakened around 1 a.m. by a tapping sound on the window. It's probably just a tree or something, I told myself. Then came a knock on the door and I heard my grandpa's voice. Are you okay in there? If you're scared, I can come keep you company. Hearing his voice was such a relief that without thinking, I rushed over to the door. But something didn't feel right. I looked at the bowls of salt in the room. All four of them had turned black. And then I heard the sound again. The tapping on the window continued. I knelt in front of the Buddha and began to pray. I was so terrified and caught up in my chanting that I didn't realize the sounds had stopped. I checked my watch. It was 7:30 a.m. Carefully, I opened the door and ran to my grandparents. We all got in a van and headed straight for the airport. Apparently, there were others who had escaped the grasp of Hachisaku-sama as long as they never stepped foot in Japan again. So 2 years ago, when my grandpa got sick, he refused to let me visit him. He even left strict instructions in his will to not let me attend his funeral. I couldn't believe that this creature prevented me from saying goodbye to him. So when my grandma called a few days ago to tell me she had been diagnosed with cancer, I wasn't going to let her stop me from visiting. It's been 10 years, Grandma, and nothing has happened to me. We don't even know if this thing is real. I'm not going to let it stop me from seeing you. If you say so, dear. I love you, Grandma. I'll see you soon. Like this video if it gave you the chills, and don't forget to subscribe to Snarled and our sister channels Hissy Fit and Slaytrix. If you or anyone you know have any unique paranormal experiences, message me on Instagram and I might feature your story. And if you dare to follow me, my links are in
I like you. There's a ghost knocking at my door. Because they keep opening and
オウム真理教は1987年朝原孫子によって設立されました。私たちが目指すのは仏教の真理に基づき一人一人が幸福になることであり、最終的には離脱悟りです。
グルを持たず一人で修行していたので、それこそ試行錯誤の連続だった。自分の修行に対する確信ができ、とても嬉しかったものだ。なぜならこれは経典上正しい修行によって身につく神通力とされていたからである。こんなにたくさんの弟子を指導すると言ったって一体どうやってと誰もが思うことだろう。しかしどんなに弟子が多くとも、またどんなに場所的に離れていたとしても、そんなことは何の問題にもならない。
本日朝原死刑囚をはじめとするオウム事件の死刑囚の執行が行われました。
Other techniques of mind control included hours of chanting and listening to tapes like this.
瞑想するぞ、瞑想するぞ、瞑想するぞ、瞑想するぞ、瞑想するぞ。
親と子と合わせないは何が重要だ。合わせないは何が重要だ。
followers paid thousands of dollars to be blessed by Asahara, to drink his blood or tea brewed from his hair.
幻覚から覚めない人には薬を体から出すため大量の点滴を打ちます。
When I first came to Japan, I remember that first week of feeling overwhelming culture shock. I had always been interested and fascinated by Japanese culture from what I'd seen and what I read on the internet, but actually stepping into a new country and a new culture is always a completely different experience for everyone. From the train station rush hours to vending machines on every corner to thousands of years of tradition preserved that sometimes as a foreigner you feel like you have to keep up with just to fit in. And yeah, anime is also somewhere twined into all of that, but one thing that has just never escaped my mind is where the fuck are all the trash cans? As bizarre as it seems, Japan is one of the cleanest countries in the world and yet also simultaneously has some of the least amount of public trash cans available. This is one of the most common concerns that you'll hear from people that have lived or stayed in Japan. It's actually asked so often that it's become an inside joke with everyone. If you've ever asked yourself this question, then a quick Google search will lead you to the results that nearly all say the same thing. A domestic terrorism attack in 1995 where a Japanese cult released sarin gas in Tokyo's subway system. The attack was said to be the most serious attack upon Japan since World War II. The cult was named Om Shinrikyo, and the leader responsible was Shoko.
Stop muting my shit.
And this is On the Case. Welcome to On the Case. This is a series that I do on this channel where I go over urban legends and cases in Japan and explain them in great detail. Now, some of you may have seen various YouTube videos talking about this case, but in this video, I'm going to be sharing footage from Japanese media outlets, visit locations of the crime, and unveil how a group went from a religious group loved by thousands to a recognized foreign terrorist organization in several countries. In order to do this, we're going to have to dive into the childhood of the leader of this cult, Shoko Asahara. Shoko Asahara was born under the name Chizuo Matsumoto. Matsumoto was brought up by a large poor family of tatami mat makers. He was born with a condition that caused him to lose sight in his left eye and partially blind in his life, which caused him to enroll in Kumamoto Prefectural School for the Blind. His parents had faith that he would be able to make something of himself despite his condition, but Shoko Asahara ruthlessly bullied other students and took their money. But at the same time, he became somewhat a leader of other children because he was the only one that could partially see. He wanted to attend medical school but wasn't accepted due to his impaired eyesight. He then aimed to enter law school but failed the entrance exam. As he grew up, he eventually graduated and studied acupuncture and traditional Chinese medicine. He also married a woman who birthed him 6 children. But in 1982, Matsumoto was arrested for selling fake Chinese medicines at a pharmacy without a license. He was fined $2,000 and given a brief jail sentence. He filed for bankruptcy and became even more obsessed with fortune-telling, yoga, Buddhism, and divination. Eventually, he asked himself, what am I living for? Is there anything absolute? Does true happiness really exist in this world? If so, can I get it? As his obsession with divination and religion grew, Matsumoto claimed to have been meditating on a beach in Kanagawa and that a god descended from the sky and said, I appoint you as the god of light who leads the armies of gods. A photograph was published of Matsumoto seated in lotus position, levitating in the air. Along with this, he published a book claiming he could levitate, control weather, and had telekinesis. Not long after, Matsumoto went to visit the Dalai Lama and had a photo taken of them that he would later use in his books to make his work seem more legitimate. He started a religious group called Om Shinsen no Kai, which later got renamed to Om Shinrikyo, which translates into Supreme Truth. It was after this that he decided to change his name to Shoko Asahara. The reason for this name, he thought Asahara was a classier family name and Shoko was a word that means offering of incense. Asahara went to the government to apply his group as a legitimate religious organization. Authorities were reluctant at first, but eventually granted them the legal recognition, and Om Shinrikyo was born. Om Shinrikyo had beliefs that tied in bits of Buddhism, Hindu, and Christianity. They believed the end of the world was imminent and that they alone would survive. The followers were told that Japan would fall and there would be a nuclear war. There were also hints of murdering the emperor. Their belief was simple: accept Shoko Asahara and you would attain salvation. Asahara continued to publish books claiming many things. In his book titled Declaring Myself the Christ, well, the title becomes self-explanatory. He claimed to be the Lamb of God who could absorb bad karma of his followers. He would tell the people that if they rejected him, then they would be destined to be born as animals, hungry ghosts, and end up in different hells due to their bad karma. To become a part of any society, you have to go through an initiation, and in the case with Om Shinrikyo, Asahara was considered to be so pure that people would actually eat off of his plate, drink his dirty bathwater, touch his feet, and other things that would normally be deemed very unhealthy for a person to do. Some would even brew his hair in their tea. And you couldn't just walk in for free and go through this initiation. To become a member meant paying a hefty sum. One member claimed that he had paid $8,100 for the blood initiation that involved drinking Shoko Asahara's blood. The ironic thing about all of this was that the cult was taught to stray away from materialism. Some less disgusting initiations involved being put through physical and mental obstacles, such as immersion in hot baths and living underground for days at a time. It was found later that some people would actually die through this process and that the cult covered it up by secretly cremating their bodies. Now, after all of this has been said and done and you are officially in the cult, you get the privilege to listen to a tape like this for hours on end. You could also be one of the lucky members to wear this electrical cap that members believe to help synchronize your brainwaves with Asahara's. Om Shinrikyo was growing in size and reputation within Japan. They had collected members of various skills. Many of them were students at elite universities, and normally this is rare, but the students signed up because of the pressure of being successful, and the cult promised them a more meaningful and stress-free life. But all of this was a disguise to recruit great minds to help aid the cult's popularity even further, while at the same time breaking their confidence. The cult even managed to get members in Japan's military forces. This was especially useful to Shoko Asahara for his plans later down the line. In the meantime, life was going good for Shoko Asahara. He was garnering fame and money from television, followers, and news outlets from all over. One report claimed them to have over 9,000 members in Japan and as many as 40,000 worldwide. The cult even created their own anime studio called MAT, which stood for Manga Anime Team. Anime was growing rapidly in Japan, so an anime called Shoatsu Sekai was produced with the intent of recruiting anime fans and otakus into their cult. It must have worked considering that there's about 272 of you that signed up according to my anime list.
I dreamed I was a butterfly. That dream ended. Was I the butterfly or the human? Someone said that.
And while I'm on the topic of their anime, I should probably address a video game thought to be made by the cult themselves. The game was called The Story of Kamukushiki Village, where you play as Shoko Asahara himself. It caused a stir of reviews online in fear that anyone who played it was subjecting themselves to be brainwashed into joining the cult. Fortunately, this was never the case. It was purely satirical and created by a Japanese internet troll who wanted to take jabs at the cult. And to Japanese people playing, the way the story is read makes it actually very obvious this game is satirical. So if you ever see any YouTube videos telling you otherwise, know that it isn't true. Now back to the cult. Not everyone, of course, was a fan. As the cult grew, more and more people started disappearing. Some were killed in secret by the cult, and some were threatened to stay. Friends and families began protesting in concern for their loved ones' whereabouts. Because of this growing outrage, a man by the name of Tatsumi Sakamoto stepped in. He was an anti-cult lawyer who sought out to rescue members of the cult and reunite them with their families. He had previous experience in bringing down cults before, and Om Shinrikyo was next on his list. Sakamoto started organizing a campaign against the cult. He established what was called the Om Shinrikyo Victims Association. In order to pursue a class action lawsuit against Asahara, he needed to get members to testify that they did not join the group voluntarily, and that they were lured in by deception and were being held against their will. Sakamoto knew that in order to bring down the cult, he had to destroy the image by debunking the cult's claims. One claim was that Shoko Asahara had divine power running through his blood, and somehow Sakamoto was able to convince the cult leader to submit to a blood test to prove that. After taking it, the results showed no sign of any supernatural phenomenon, and the evidence proved to be potentially damaging to Asahara. Soon after that, the lawyer filmed an interview with a local news station in Tokyo about his doubt and efforts to expose the cult. This was it. All that needed to happen now was to air this interview and Asahara would be exposed to the world. Unfortunately, before the interview could air, someone from the news station showed the footage to the cult members, and the news station was pressured to cancel broadcasting it. Not long after, some of the cult members, including the chief scientist, got together to eliminate Sakamoto. They packed syringes filled with potassium chloride with the intent to knock out the lawyer, and waited for him to come to the train station. But Sakamoto never showed up, so the members pursued Sakamoto in his own home. They found one of the doors unlocked and snuck in. When they walked into the bedroom, they found Sakamoto, his wife, and a 14-year-old month baby in the crib next to them. Sakamoto was smashed in the head with a hammer, and his wife was beaten, while another member injected the baby with the syringe filled with potassium chloride. They later injected it into the couple. The wife died quickly from the toxins, but Sakamoto not as much, so instead the cult strangled him to death. Afterwards, their bodies were placed in metal drums, and the cult separated their bodies in 3 separate prefectures. They hoped that by doing this, the police wouldn't be able to make a link between their murders. Not only that, their teeth were smashed to warp their identity. Their bodies would not be found until the gas attack soon to come, 6 years later. Some believe that this was the cult's way of intimidating other lawyers from pursuing them, but even doing that didn't stop some lawyers from chasing after them. Others did begin challenging the cult. One journalist was able to uncover the disappearance of the Sakamoto family and was pursued, but she avoided being found. Another lawyer by the name of Toko Takimoto went in and debunked Shoko Asahara's book on levitation. After feeling humiliated by the lawyer, Shoko Asahara added Takimoto to the hit list and had an assassination attempted on him. Luckily, it was not successful and he was hospitalized, making a full recovery. Om Shinrikyo's true colors were beginning to unravel each passing day. Asahara continued to preach that the apocalypse was coming and no one outside the cult would be safe. He continued to use fear and manipulation on his followers. In 1990, Asahara decided to run in a House of Representatives election with 24 of his members. Despite their best efforts and overshooting their confidence, the cult only received a little over 1,700 votes and lost the election. This was thought to truly spur Asahara's hunger for power, which began his pursuit of overthrowing the Japanese government. So, he began a project. Asahara and his most loyal followers built a facility where they would begin experimenting with chemical weapons. The intent was to use these weapons against their enemies and put the cult on top. As they were testing out chemicals, a foul odor began coming out of the facility and disturbing the neighbors nearby. The fumes inhaled would cause symptoms such as nosebleeds and convulsions. When citizens protested in front of the facility, the cult blamed the US Army, saying the United States had released poison gas on the area. But residents all gathered together and provided hundreds of photos proving that the cult was responsible for the horrid smells and that they were up to no good. The evidence was removed, but the cult decided to move their facility to a sheep station in Australia, which cost over $50 million to develop. Some truly question how lacking the security was over watching the cult. There was even a member who was fined for transporting the chemicals hidden in sake bottles. One of the members, who was a chemist, helped create the sarin gas that would be used in the cult's murders. Once the sarin gas was made, they decided to test it out. Before I move on, there's some things that you should know about sarin gas. Sarin is an odorless and colorless gas that has the power to kill quickly and painfully. Imagine the worst cramp you've ever had in your life. Now times that by 100, and instead of in one place, it's in every part of your body, including your eyes. Sarin causes your nervous system to go haywire by flexing every muscle in your body until you get painful cramps that are so extreme that it can even disrupt your diaphragm, preventing air going into your lungs. It's an extremely painful way to die, and anyone in contact with it is at risk of dying in just under 10 minutes. It's been classified as a weapon of mass destruction and is banned from use in modern warfare. No thanks to the chemists and military personnel that were involved in the cult, this is how they got their hands on the substance. Asahara ordered his first attack in an apartment block in Matsumoto Nagano Prefecture, Japan, where he sought out 3 judges living there. He was paranoid that these judges were out to rule against him in a lawsuit. Not to mention, Asahara was also angered by residents where over 140,000 signatures were signed in a petition against the cult's wishes to establish a facility in their city. It was a warm evening and most of the residents were leaving their windows open at night to let the fresh air come into their homes. But as they slept, the cult released the sarin gas in the neighborhood. 7 people died and hundreds were injured.
I got ad blocker fixed.
Village where you play as Shoko Asahara himself. It was called The Story of Kamukushiki Village, where you play as Shoko Asahara himself. Your lungs.
Someone must be feeding this to me, because I've been sick since fucking birth.
It's an extremely painful way to die, and anyone in contact with it is at risk of dying in just under 10 minutes. It's been classified as a weapon of mass destruction and is banned from use in modern warfare. No thanks to the chemists and military personnel that were involved in the cult, this is how they got their hands on the substance. Asahara ordered his first attack in an apartment block in Matsumoto Nagano Prefecture, Japan, where he sought out 3 judges living there. He was paranoid that these judges were out to rule against him in a lawsuit. Not to mention, Asahara was also angered by residents where over 140,000 signatures were signed in a petition against the cult's wishes to establish a facility in their city. It was a warm evening and most of the residents were leaving their windows open at night to let the fresh air come into their homes. But as they slept, the cult released the sarin gas in the neighborhood. 7 people died and hundreds were injured. One of the victims went into a coma for 14 years and died shortly after awakening. The police investigated the area and found dead fish, dogs, birds, and caterpillars surrounding the neighborhood. Despite tip-offs, the police did not link the attack to the cult. Little did anyone know that at the time, the Matsumoto gas attack was an experiment for the cult's biggest terrorist attack. Fingerprints from the Matsumoto gas attack linked one of the cult members to the case, and the police set out to raid the cult on March 22nd. But Asahara had friends in high places. 2 cult members just happened to be inside Japan's armed forces and warned Asahara that the police were coming in just a few days. So Asahara acted fast and ordered an attack on the Tokyo subway lines close to the police department. Some believe that this was a desperate attack on Asahara's part to begin the apocalypse. The attack was set to hit during rush hour at the absolute busiest part of the transport systems. It's March 20th, 1995 at about 8 a.m. Thousands of citizens board the trains during rush hour to go to work. Among them were 5 cult members that carried out Asahara's orders and split up to different trains on one of the busiest lines in Tokyo. Each of them is holding a plastic bag filled with liquid sarin wrapped in newspaper. They boarded the train and set the bags gently on the ground. As soon as the train would come to a stop, the cult members would stand up virtually at the same time as if to exit the train. They would use the tips of their umbrellas to puncture the bag, which leaked out the sarin. As the members exited the train, they would meet with an accomplice in a getaway car just outside the station and return to Ulm headquarters. As the cult members drove away, the liquid would quickly evaporate and spread within the train cars. The sarin liquid vaporizes and begins to spread its fumes throughout the train. Passengers began to inhale the deadly nerve gas and showed severe poisoning symptoms. People began coughing and looking around, and almost immediately they began convulsing with muscle spasms. Blood begins to pour from their noses and their mouths. The train is still running, making its stops, and incoming passengers come in contact with the sarin gas. Others that escaped the train fast enough still had difficulty breathing. After 3 stops, a passenger desperately hits the emergency button and the train is forced to make a stop. But the train found itself in the middle of a tunnel and was forced to continue to stop at the next station. The first call to the police is made. An announcement was made for everyone to please evacuate the station, and the passengers made a run for the exit. 13 passengers died from the sarin gas, while thousands more were injured. At first, everyone believed it was an explosion, but quickly the train line completely shut down in order to evacuate all commuters at Kasumigaseki Station. As staff members searched for the source of where the gas was coming from, 2 members died in the process. While others tried to mop up the liquid, they too fell ill from the exposure. It wasn't long until investigators connected the incident to the cult. I took a trip to Kasumigaseki Station, and it was here that the train stopped to evacuate all of its passengers. Staff members were scrambling around to locate and dispose of all of the sarin bags. It's also at the station that every year a memorial is held to remember all of the victims. And as of March 20th, 2021, the station held its 26th anniversary memorial. From what I had researched online, it seems that the sarin bags were put into the train rather than in trash cans. But because of fears of another attack in the future, the government removed all of its trash cans because it was seen as a potential hiding spot for sarin bags. Before I continue on, I want to discuss the victims and shed a light on just how much this incident changed Japan. I feel sometimes exposures are almost completely given to the criminal and almost never to the victims and people affected. Whether it's just human nature for us to look at a car crash we can't look away from, or the media just doesn't care enough to talk about the victims, I decided to shed a light on it after reading Haruki Murakami's book Underground. This book was completely dedicated to focusing on the lives of the victims through the interviews and first-hand experiences. It was like I'd been shot or something. All of a sudden, my breathing completely stopped. Like if I inhaled any more, all my guts would come spilling right out of my mouth. I was walking back to the office to my replacement when the chief officer Matsumoto came out with a mop. We head up the escalator to the platform. There we found Toyoda, Takahashi, and Hishinuma with a bundle of wet newspapers on the platform. They're stuffing it all by hand into plastic bags, but there's liquid coming from them and spilling into the platform. There was a very strong smell. Then Takahashi walked over to the trash can at the end of the platform, probably to fetch some more newspaper to wipe up where it was still wet. Suddenly he sinks down in front of the bin and keels over. Takahashi's face looked awful. He couldn't talk. We laid him on his side, loosened his tie, and he looked in really bad shape. The news had broken out, and the police headed to Ohm headquarters. Shoko Asahara was found hiding in a concealed room. He was sweaty and seemed to have intended to stay in hiding for some time. But once he was brought into questioning, he denied the allegations and said that he couldn't possibly have done it because he was a blind man. His followers denied it as well and said that it was a separate plan made by other cult members instead. After further interrogation of the cult members responsible, they all said they legitimately thought what they were doing was right.
Many Japanese, he is guilty and must be punished by death, and so judge will think same way.
While members may have confessed, Shoko Asahara stayed silent. He went through an 8-year trial and attended over 256 court sessions and never once offered an apology nor explanation. Instead, he reportedly developed a mental illness where he babbled nonsense in broken English and talked incoherently. It wasn't uncommon that people thought he was just trying to receive the insanity plea. His lawyer, however, had made a statement. 公正あ正ということは一切ですね。命令だとか指示だとかしてないと。殺害の指示はしていないと。単なる殺人ではなくして、嘱託殺人で自分は死にたいので自分を殺してくれということを。
本日朝原死刑囚をはじめとするオウム事件の死刑囚の執行が行われました。
Shoko Asahara and his followers were all sentenced on death row. After the attack and trial, the cult members responsible for killing Sakamoto-san and his family had finally revealed the location of their bodies.
警視庁と神奈川県警の合同捜査本部は今日夕方、達彦ちゃんと思われる遺体は今日夕方これまで捜索していた10メートル四方の地域に隣接する東側で発見されました。この地域は今日から捜索範囲を広げた部分で横から壁を削るように掘っていたところ、深さ1メートル。
そしてその坂本さんご一家がその後無残にも殺害されたという厳然たる事実です。ここにまず私たちは改めて坂本さんご一家のご冥福を心から深くお祈りし、ご遺族関係者の皆様にお悔やみを申し上げます。私自身番組の中で事実に反した放送をしました。私たちが報道機関としての存立基盤そのものを問われている中で、せめても課せられた責任を果たすための第一歩として現時点でできうる限りの取材をし、その結果を現場からの報告としてお伝えしてまいりました。しかし言うまでもなく、この番組だけで私たちの検証作業が終わるはずもありません。
By this point, it was 6 years after the incident. A memorial was built in Nagano Prefecture and is regularly visited by those closest to the family as well as the families of the victims. The cult member responsible for making the syringe to kill the lawyer was stabbed in front of the paparazzi by a Yakuza member before his trial even started.
あ、そうですよ。彼は私の部下です。
部下ですか。はい。あ、そうですか。連絡取ってました。
ちょっと通してよ。
やめてください。
おい、何やってんだこれな。おら。
危ない。
やめてください。やめてください。血が出てるよ。
Shoko Asahara died by hanging on July 6, 2018. He was 63 years old. Asahara's body was cremated soon after he hanged at the Tokyo detention house, but his ashes remain there because his family disagrees over what to do with them. Authorities feared that giving the ashes to the family would turn into an item of worship for members still involved with the cult. One of the daughters of Asahara, who remains anonymous, was designated to receive his remains. And to scatter his ashes into the Pacific. She had severed ties with her parents and had made statements regarding her childhood involvement with the cult. From the time I was around 2 or 3, I lived by myself in a room like a storehouse, with no windows. After my brother was born and I went into my mother's room, she turned me away saying, "There's no longer any room for you here." Both now and in the past, I never thought of my father as a dad. When I was born, my father was already a sect leader and a guru. I never once called him dad. The woman had claimed that she had been made to eat omelets with pieces of broken pot in them, and was even forced to stand outside in the cold for hours. This abuse made her fearful of being killed if she ever resisted her parents' wishes. She had apparently applied in December 2015 to be removed as an heir to the cult. The daughter and the lawyer agreed that it would be best to receive the ashes and scatter them in the ocean so that followers could not create a holy land with them. The lawyer also asked the government to support the daughter in order to protect her from the possible attacks from followers or any attempts to steal the ashes. In the end, she added, "What I want to say most now is that I want a system under which children can cut ties with their parents if there are marked problems," she said. "I'm grateful to my parents for giving birth to me, but I don't think I owe them anything when it comes to raising me. Considering the weight of my father's crimes, I don't think that there is any way for him to take responsibility but for the death penalty to be carried out." This was one of, if not the only child of Asahara who supported the death penalty on her father. Her siblings did not take kindly to that. Not long after this, her older sister came onto the media and even amongst other YouTube channels defending him, saying that their father was just mentally ill and pleaded for a retrial of his case. It was a day that I lost most of my sense of reality and my clock stopped ticking. People think of him as a monster, but he was human. Naturally, the public went completely against the older sister and believed she was still part of the cult, trying to keep her father's memory alive on good terms. She went on to publish a book called A Clock That Has Stopped. She went on to argue that her father was mentally ill and should undergo treatment so people can hear what he has to say about the crimes. She has attempted suicide multiple times and has regularly tried to visit her father in Tokyo Detention House, but not once did the staff ever let her see him. Japan removed most of its trash cans in fear that it could be a possible hiding spot for future attacks. Most of the trash cans you'll find are usually near a vending machine and occasionally in a park and a train station here and there. But Japan takes the placement of their trash cans quite occasionally.
I forgot the English alphabet, I got the R, and that's all I remembered.
In a park and a train station here and there, but Japan takes the placement of their trash cans quite seriously. In 2014 and 2017, when Donald Trump and Barack Obama were visiting Japan, they tightened security and sealed the trash cans shut until the end of his visit. On New Year's 2019, a man by the name of Kazujiro Kusakabe intentionally plowed his car into a crowd in Harajuku district. He said it was in retaliation of the death penalty system. Investigation on linking his attack to the execution of the cultists who died the year prior is still unclear. Life after the event made it incredibly difficult for the children of Shoko Asahara to live normally. Everywhere they went was faced with discrimination and resentment. Colleges, universities, and part-time jobs dismissed applications once they knew who they were.
And that's why I'm gonna change the name.
Unfortunately, the end of Shoko Asahara and his followers did not end the cult's existence, and in fact had split into two cults, called Aleph and the Circle of Light. Circle of Light constantly tries to make it public that they have nothing to do with Om. Aleph also tries to make it clear that they have nothing to do with Shoko Asahara. But the Public Security Intelligence Agency warns that Aleph and the Circle of Light still remain devoted to Asahara in their own ways, while Om Shinrikyo is designed as a terrorist organization by several countries. These two subcults are still legal in Japan, but under heightened surveillance and deemed as dangerous religious organizations. And today, the police still carry out investigations and raids against the cults. In November 2017, the police raided 5 offices of Aleph after investigating a woman who was spending tens of thousands of yen for study sessions, but the group still reportedly has about 2,100 members and continues to recruit new members under the name Aleph. But in 2019, the Tokyo court demanded Aleph to pay out more than 1 billion yen to the victims of the attack. March 20th, 2021 marks 26 years since the event, and victims and families are still affected today. Every year, a memorial service is held at Kasumigaseki Station, where citizens can pay their respects in memory of those who were harmed. Sakamoto-san is still highly respected today at his family's memorial. Since the attack of 1990, 1995, Japan has never been the same. When people see cult members, they never really think about the process of a person getting there. They just see the result. Everyone in life is on their own journey trying to find happiness, and sometimes that journey brings you into a crowd who wants to take advantage of that happiness. Cults will recruit you with positivity and the promise of a better life. They find someone who is at their most fragile and tell them exactly what they want to hear in order to stay. And in worst cases like Om Shinrikyo, will threaten you once recruited. The one thing I think everyone should take away from stories about cults, if nothing else, is always think for yourself. No matter how desperate you are for a better life, always try to look at the bigger picture and weigh your options. Just because someone smiles at you and consoles you when you're down doesn't mean you're indebted to them. A person who truly wants nothing but the best for you isn't looking for anything in return. Cults go completely against that and want you and all of you. But thank you guys so much for watching and being patient with this On the Case series. These videos take a lot of time, translation, and research, so if you would like in the meantime, feel free to support me on Patreon. But I'm Detective Aki, and thanks for watching.
Content warning, in this video we will be displaying explicit messages that were sent to a minor, but we'll be giving you another warning before it happens. So, it's been a few months since People Make Games released our video titled How Roblox is Exploiting Young Game Developers. In it, we shone a light on how Roblox, which is today one of the largest video games in the world, encourages children to make games on its platform only to give them a tiny fraction of the revenue that their games make. We had concerns about the extent to which Roblox is a system that predates on child creativity, and overwhelmingly, you folks shared those concerns. With game developers the world over reacting with shock and anger at how Roblox was treating its creators. But I'll tell you who else had an interesting reaction to our reporting: Roblox Corporation. You might remember a part in the last video where we talked about a page on Roblox.com that told kids they could make serious cash. After our video was released, this was silently removed from the platform. But this was just an appetizer of what was to come. As a result of the first video blowing up, we had a lot of members of the Roblox community reach out to us because they felt we'd only just scratched the surface, and they wanted to tell us about other huge and unfair problems with the platform that they felt were going unreported. And that's what this video is. This is us reporting our findings from the interviews we conducted with those people. So with this in mind, we reached out to Roblox again. You see, when we were researching the first video, we emailed them.
ホーム真理教は1980
Hey friends, it's Aki Dearest. So if you've been around YouTube lately, you may have been one of the many people recommended this video. And this video is called... I have been one of...
Easy to make a video with no title. Just press the space bar.
The many people recommended this video. And this video is called... What? It has no title, but it is uploaded by the channel name. Okay, what the f- It has no channel name. As you guys can see, those are the two most mysterious factors about this video. I'm going to try and put it up in a pretty package of what this video is about, the background of it, and also the creator and how did they upload this video in the first place. As of the recording of this video, it has over 4.6 million views. And the first thing I'm going to tackle is the artist. The creator of the No Name song goes by the username @X000X, but for now, just to make it easier on myself and you guys, we're just gonna go call them Blank. Blank is a music creator that started off by uploading 16-bit music covers. Other than that, no one really knows anything personal about Blank, but recently they uploaded this video that has no title, and when you click on it, it's a song using Vocaloid or probably Utao, either one of the two. I should probably mention that fans of this channel and fans of this style like to call themselves the cult or the cult of Blank. At the end of the video, this style like to call themselves the cult or the cult of blank. At the end of the video, you'll see text pop up that says welcome to the cult. Fans will normally say something like, we don't talk about the cult, but this reference, if anything, is just an inside joke that the fans have. I should probably mention something that I read up about this song, and it's the fact that this is a tribute to another artist from a few years back. They've left the internet for quite a while now, but back then they were known for making really great songs and they had a very dedicated fan base. But this said artist also worked on a fan game and kindly asked people not to spread it around or talk about it, but of course it's the internet, so of course they spread it around. He got really mad, and also he just left the internet and kindly asked people to forget about him and his work. His dedicated fan base gets kind of angry when you mention his name, but then there's the other part that is very critical about his choices, and honestly I kind of side with it, which is it's really naive to expect that from the internet. It's the same logic as Sia trying to cover her face, even though on a quick Google search it's the top result. So I don't personally really see a point to it. You can say it's out of respect, but if you ask me, coming into the internet and asking people not to talk about something that's popular is really overshooting your expectations here. One of the biggest questions that people have about this video is how did they do it in the first place? Because when you upload a video onto YouTube, everyone knows that a title is always required. So the trick that Blank uses here, they basically used what is called a zero width non-joiner. This is a character that the computer can read, and it uses this character to create ligatures. Are you still with me so far? Yeah? So how does this all tie into the video? Well, like I said before, the zero width non-joiner is an invisible character that the computer recognizes. It may be invisible, but it's still a character. Okay, so I did a quick Google search and just typed in zero width non-joiner, and it took me to this page. Now I scroll down and it gives me a list of zero width non-joiner characters that I can copy. Even though I can't see it, I know that it's there, so I right click, copy, I go to YouTube, upload a video, a title is needed, so I paste what I just copied, which is the zero width non-joiner, and even though I can't see it, look at that, it enables and the video can process normally and go through. Magic! So watching the video, luckily it came with an English translation enabled, so I was able to see what this song might have been about. In this video, there's a series of sentences that pop up on the screen in Japanese that translate as January 8th, 2004, 11... They do it in the first place, because when you upload a video onto YouTube, everyone knows that a title is always required. So the trick that Blank uses here, they basically used what is called a zero width non joiner normally and go through. Magic! So watching the video, luckily it came with an English translation enabled, so I was able to see what this song might have been about. In this video, there's a series of sentences that pop up on the screen in Japanese that translate as January 8th, 2004, 11 p.m. It's funny, the train just won't stop. It's finally stopped. Just what kind of place is this? So I went and researched anything that might have happened on January 8th, 2004 involving trains in Japan. So my research eventually led me to a creepypasta page talking about a case called Kisaragi Station. The page summarizes talking about a case called Kisaragi Station. The page summarizes a case where a user that went by the name of Hasumi logged into a Japanese image board called 2chan, and they posted on a forum asking other users for help. I'll link the entire chat log in the description below, but here are just some bits and pieces taken from the chat log that day. This may just be my imagination. Can I post it anyway? Go ahead, what's going on? I've been riding a certain train for a while. But something seems off. I always take this train to work, but it hasn't stopped at any stations for the past 20 minutes or so. It usually only takes 5, 7, or 8 at worst. Oh, and there's 5 other passengers, but they're all sleeping. Did you take the express train by mistake? Well, it's possible, but they're all sleeping. Did you take the express train by mistake? Well, it's possible I may have just missed my stop. I'll wait a little longer. If anything else strange occurs, I might bring it up here. We came out of a tunnel, so we're dropping speed slightly. There usually aren't any tunnels, though. It's a train from Shin Hamamatsu. Looks like we're finally stopping at a station. You aren't going to get off. Looks like we're finally stopping at a station. You aren't going to get off there, are you? We stopped at Kisaragi Station. I wonder if I should get off. I've never heard of this place before. I'm not finding anything on Kisaragi Station. And Hasumi, your train was going on for over an hour? That's really strange. There doesn't seem to be any taxis anywhere. Call the police? Call the taxi company? I called home and asked to be picked up, but neither of my parents seem to know where Kisaragi Station is. They'll look for it on the map so they can come get me, but I'm getting a little scared now. Walk back along the track. If you start running now, you might catch up to the train. There must be houses around the station, right? Yes, there are. I didn't quite notice since I was panicking. I'm waiting for my parents to call while walking along the track. I want to go home. There's really just nothing out here. All I can see are fields and mountains, but I think I'll be able to make it back if I go down the track, so I'll keep pushing on. Thank you very much. Of course. Just be careful out there. Just make sure you don't run out of battery. Your phone's your lifeline right now. I got a call from my father, and he had many questions, but simply couldn't find my location. I've been told to call the police, which I'm a little opposed to doing, but I'll try asking them to help me now. What's it like around the station? What's there? I hear what sounds like a beating drum mixed with some kind of bell way off in the distance. Honestly, I have no idea what to do at this point. Get back to the station for now, Hasumi. It's best to return where you started when you're lost. You might think I'm kidding, but I'm too scared to look behind me. I do want to go.
I'm back. That fire on my windowsill. Awesome, right?
Go back to the station, but I don't dare turn around. You can't go back to the station now. Run through the tunnel. I'm sure you'll find it not far. Someone behind me yelled, "Hey, don't walk on the track, that's dangerous." I looked around expecting to see an attendant and saw a one-legged man, but he vanished. I think I'm too scared to move. I told
What's that? That's why you did that. Mine is no shadow and she is a bitch.
told you not to look back. Run! I can't walk or run any further. The drumming sound is getting a little closer. Wait for dawn. It won't be scary in the daylight. I'm still alive. but I fell and started bleeding and broke a heel, so I'm sitting still on the ground. I don't want to die now. It should be safe if you leave the tunnel. Once you get out of there, call for help immediately. I finally managed to make it in front of the tunnel. The name says Isanuki. The sound's still getting closer, so I'm gonna leave the tunnel. If I'm safe once I get out of the tunnel, I'll post again. This is the end. Forget about trains and stations. Forget about going back. Forget about someone chasing you. The sound you're hearing is just something you imagine. Run out of the tunnel. If you stop, you'll only succumb to something which does not belong in this world. I left the tunnel. There's someone up ahead. It looks like all your advice was right after all. Thank you so much. My face is such a mess from tears, he might just mistake me for a monster. Stop! That can't be good. He seems gentle and was worried for me. He called for a train to take me to the nearest station. Apparently there's some kind of business hotel there. I'm truly, truly thankful to all of you. Hasumi, please answer me this one thing. Can you ask that man what that place is? I asked him where it was, and he said Hina. That seems extremely unlikely, though. We've been headed towards the mountains for some time. It really doesn't strike me as a place where trains would go, and he stopped talking to me entirely. Hasumi, please call 110. This might be your last chance. My battery's almost run out. Things are getting strange, so I think I'm gonna make a run for it. He's been talking to himself about bizarre things for a while now. To prepare for just the right time, I'm going to make this my last post for now. So this chat log blew up on 2chan, and since then there have been many references in media in Japan referring to the Kisaragi case. So even though it's an urban legend, I decided to go on Google Maps just to get a better idea of what we're looking at here. Okay, so I have Google Maps here to help paint a better picture for you guys to understand why it's almost impossible for her to end up in Hina or Kisaragi Station, the station that doesn't exist. So right now we start at Shin Hamamatsu because she says that she started off in Shin Hamamatsu, as you guys can see in the forum. Now, it says on here that she most likely took the Enshu railway line in Shizuoka. So I went to Google Maps, and look, you find Shin Hamamatsu, and this is the Enshu railway line, and the last stop to get off anywhere is Nishi Kajima. To take this entire line, it's only 32 minutes. So somehow, she ended up in a place called Hina, as it says it here again on the forum. So let me just show you guys where Hina is. I think it only makes sense to have Hina Station. How the fuck did she end up from Shin Hamamatsu all the way to fuck all? Actually, she's near the base of Mount Fuji, it looks like. Somehow she ended up on there. I don't know how, but as you guys can see, it's so different from where she was meant to go. So she traveled dimensions and she somehow went all the way to Mount Fuji. Actually, I kind of feel like I want to travel dimensions because I want to fucking go to Mount Fuji. Lucky bitch. Anyway, so this is the blue line right here, which is the Shinkansen, which is a bullet train. I very much doubt that she took a bullet train because reserving a bullet train is like reserving a fucking plane ticket, and you actually need to have the money and do it ahead of time, so you can't really accidentally get onto a bullet train. So let's go over here to Hina Station. She ended up technically, I guess, at Kisaragi Station, but if she's in Hina, let me show you guys the entirety of Hina. I'll click right here for you. So this whole red outline, that's Hina. And there's Mount Fuji. I'm sure a lot of you know that place. So she was somewhere around here. There is a place called Kisaragi, but from the looks of it, it's just a group home, so I don't really think that this counts. It's not really relevant to the story at all. It's just happenstance. I was really curious when she was talking about this tunnel called Isanuki, and again, going on Google Maps, let's just double check Isanuki tunnel. It doesn't exist. Google can't find it. So I thought, what if she made it a typo? Because there is a tunnel that's infamous for being very haunted in Japan, and it's called Inanuki. So I typed in Inanuki tunnel, and maybe if she traveled dimensions, she somehow ended up there. But let me just show you where Inanuki is. It's completely different prefecture, dude. I don't know, some people would call it a curse that she ended up in different dimensions, but I kind of call it good luck that she's able to travel in different parts of Japan. Dude, let me do it. Let me do that shit. I want to go to Fukuoka. So what about Kisaragi Station? Well, the Wikipedia page declares it as nothing more than a fictional station, and that it was simply the setting of an internet horror story. And given all the gaps in Hasumi's claims, I have to conclude that Kisaragi Station, to this day, does not exist. At least not in real life. But what if it existed in another form of media. Let's say that Hasumi was a user that just made this all up and wanted to throw a bone to create a story on 2chan. So where was the inspiration from?
Okay, so here's the thing. I looked at the chat log that was on Creepypasta and realized that it has been ridiculously cut down, so I went on a search to go find the original chat log and had to go all the way back to 2004. But I finally found it, and in it were a lot of links of people providing to try and figure out where Hasumi was, and the chat log also extended past when Hasumi disappeared. Now, it was really interesting that past her disappearing, there were actually messages from her that assured everyone that she was fine, and I was thinking at first when I read this, like, holy shit, that is a huge piece of evidence that's been left out of this. But then you look closely at the usernames and realize that they're all copycats, and even other users are calling them out too, so we're kind of back to square one here. But in the chat, on the night that Hasumi was texting on 2chan, there were a lot of links provided, and I gotta tell you, 99.9% of them are all expired by now. There was one guy that gave a link to a video game called Donkyusei 2, which translates to Classmate 2.
Sega サターン用ソフト同級生2 97年発売 Licensed by Elf.
This is a romance visual novel game that came out in 1992, and in it is a town called Kisaragi Town. And in the town is Kisaragi Station, where the train runs from 6 a.m. to midnight. And in the game, it says if you don't make it in time for the train, you'll be left behind. And Hasumi seemed to acknowledge this, as if in it is a town called Kisaragi Town. And in the town is Kisaragi Station, where the train runs from 6 a.m. to midnight. And in the game, it says if you don't make it in time for the train, you'll be left behind. And Hasumi seemed to acknowledge this, but very, very quickly, and sort of brushed it off even. Meanwhile, there were other users that were actually pretty adamant on using this game to figure out where she was or if she was even lying. Because in Japan, what they tend to do is use a lot of video games and anime and base them off of real-life locations that are in Japan. So they thought, okay, maybe we can find what Kisaragi is in Japan, but there was nothing. And there were a lot of users that speculated that if Hasumi's lying, she probably got it from this game. If you ask me, I don't think any supernatural phenomenon happened. I don't think she traveled dimensions or whatever the legend says. As far as I'm concerned, there's two possible reasonings for this. Number one, she could have just slept on the train for a really long time and missed her stop. It happens all the time. And it's kind of unlikely she died, because considering how much this urban legend has grown in Japan, it's hard to believe that they would have never found a body, especially since she was at a train station of all places. And it is possible that she did get the name Kisaragi from this old visual novel. I can't say for sure. But as far as the timeline goes, Kisaragi Station only existed in this video game. There's even a part where she says that she fell over and she's bleeding, and I think she almost broke her heel or something. And yet she still has the energy to get on 2chan and type that. And she's in a tunnel, and don't tunnels knock out your phone? It doesn't make any sense. So that's everything that I wanted to unpack for the Kisaragi case. Now, going back to the video, if you guys look at the lyrics of the song that they're talking about, it's quite clear that they are referencing Kisaragi, and not only are the lyrics in perfect conjunction with what we just saw here, but also if you go back to the HTML sheet, you'll scroll down and see that the tags that they put for this video is actually the word Kisaragi, which is written in Japanese. The other thing I found is that if you go on Spotify and you look up the artist, they have this song, and the title is just a series of slashes, which makes it cool, but also really difficult to tell your friends what song to look up. But that is literally everything that I could figure out as far as this video goes, as far as the artist goes, and the background story of Kisaragi Station. I'll put also, of course, a link to the original video in the description if you guys want to check it out. If it hasn't been recommended to you, or if you've never heard of it before, now you have. So if you ever meet anyone that wants to know any reasoning behind this, maybe share this video as well. Actually, no, share this video. please, because there was a lot of work to do, and it was really fun. It's been a long time since I talked about Vocaloid videos. I haven't done that since... yeah, anyways, appreciate you guys for watching, subscribe and whatnot, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!
My favorite. Ad blocker.
Hey friends, my name is Aki Dearest. So the Ghibli franchise is quite the gem in the anime and otaku community. With every film comes a new adventure, and with every new adventure comes a new message, and with every new message there comes another person waiting to just rip that apart and change up the entire premise of the story. Today I'm going to share with you guys crazy and disturbing theories and events of 10 different Ghibli films. So let's get right to it. Number 1, My Neighbor Totoro, the God of Death. Being one of Miyazaki's most popular films, legend has it that My Neighbor Totoro is based on what is called the Sayama Incident of 1963. On May 1st, 1960, is based on what is called the Sayama Incident of 1963. On May 1st, 1963, in Sayama City, within the Saitama Prefecture, a 16-year-old high school girl by the name of Yoshi Nakata went missing on her way from school. Later that night, her older sister, school girl by the name of Yoshi Nakata, went missing on her way from school. Later that night, her older sister, who later committed suicide, receives a ransom note asking to bring 200,000 yen to a place close to her house. As she went to the meeting place, there were police surrounding the area, so the man became suspicious and escaped before police could catch him. A few days later, the young sister's body was found after being raped and killed. So why would this be connected to our loving Totoro movie? One of our main characters of the film, Satsuki, means the month of May in Japanese, while her younger sister is named May, which is said in English as the same month. The setting of our film takes place in Tokorozawa City, which is next to Sayama City, the town where the incident took place. This would make a lot of sense to call our setting as My Neighbor. In the beginning of the movie, the box and the old lady is seen labeled as Sayama tea. Rumor has it that the ransom between the kidnapper and older sister was made in a tea field. When May was kidnapped, the old lady next door finds a slipper near a lake. Fearing that she may have drowned, Satsuki supposedly says that it isn't May's. She then goes to our beloved Totoro pleading for him to bring her to wherever May is. So what if May actually did drown? Then in a sense, Totoro sets off to reunite our two protagonists. If May actually did drown, then in a sense, Totoro sets off to reunite our two protagonists.
Studio Ghibli. I love
Protagonists in the afterlife. Totoro then takes Satsuki to the cat bus, and before the sign changes to May, we see the life. Totoro then takes Satsuki to the cat bus.
Oh, there's the pussy. Pussie.
And before the sign changes to May, we see the kanji that translates to path to the grave. So I guess we can say that Totoro is our angel of death, and the cat bus is the grim reaper. Satsuki then spots May by 6 Jizo statues. These statues are common in Japan and are very commonly seen in cemeteries and are believed to protect children in the underworld. At the end of the movie, the sisters are reunited and are believed to protect children in the underworld. At the end of the movie, the sisters are reunited and they sit on a tree with Totoro watching their mother from a distance rather than personally going to see her. Is this implying that they're already dead? The mother then quotes this.
Who left this? What is it?
I thought I saw Satsuki and Mei smiling at us from up in that tree.
It sounds crazy, but maybe you did. Look at this.
For Mommy.
This could probably mean that the mother could be close to death because of her illness that Miyazaki confirms is tuberculosis, which is also what his mother suffered from as well. The name of the hospital she resides in is named Shichikokuyama, which is inspired by the Hachikokuyama Hospital. So in the end, our urban legend is that Totoro is the base story of the Sayama incident of 1963. Now, Ghibli's already stated that this movie was in no way, shape, or form related to the incident, but I must admit that this urban legend is a very well thought out one, and at the very least is hard to unsee once it's been seen. Number 2, Ponyo, Tsunami to Heaven. In the movie presenting the values of friendship, our two protagonists, Ponyo and Sasuke, face a threat to their way of life. It's said that the city was destroyed by a tsunami and that the people actually went to heaven. The tunnel that Ponyo frequently visits is looked at as a path that connects between this world and heaven, and apparently it's why Ponyo automatically turns into a fish when she goes through, which is why she says, "I don't like it here." Lastly, the rumor goes to say that elderly people are breathing and dancing underwater because they're already dead and are actually in heaven now. Alright, I'm just gonna throw my 2 cents here that clearly the people who made this up just scrapped the ending of the movie altogether. Alright, I'm just gonna throw my 2 cents here that clearly the people who made this up just scrapped. Scrap the ending of the movie altogether, because if they really took it into account, they'd know that this is pretty contradicting and kinda ruins the entire premise of the urban legend. But I guess just to keep the legend alive, let's just bullshit it and say that Sasuke and Ponyo just decided not to be in heaven and go back to reality. Yeah, this urban legend is clearly made for the sake of existing. Number 3, Nausicaa on Mars. I'm sorry, I can't make this title sound any more serious. Okay, so the theory for this one is actually kind of funny in my opinion. The theory for Nausicaa says that apparently the entire movie actually takes place on Mars, and that all of the life forms originate from there as well. Since Mars only has a third of the gravitational force as Earth, it apparently makes it from there as well. Since Mars only has a third of the gravitational force as Earth, life forms originate from there as well. Since Mars only has a third of the gravitational force as Earth, the life forms originate from there as well. Since Mars only has a third of the gravitational force as all of the life forms originate from there as well. Since Mars only has a third of the gravitational force as Earth, it apparently makes it easier to use wind as a primary source of energy. On Earth, it's said that humans eventually lost their land and way of living due to being surrounded by the toxic seas and jungles. The wars that took place caused the land to turn into vast deserts, and the story of Nausicaa is said to be based on the memories of what happened. Ugh, okay, really? Mars? That's not even remotely interesting even if this was an urban legend. To be honest, that kinda sounds a lot less interesting than the original story itself. They clearly just said it in the movie that they're on Earth. Interesting than the original story itself. They clearly just said it in the movie that they're on Earth.
But I don't understand who could have polluted the entire Earth.
You discovered.
I don't understand who could have polluted the entire Earth.
Discovered this.
Whatever, let's just see what's next. Number 4, Grave of the Fireflies, a purgatory night. nightmare. The legend goes that the movie is more than just the life retelling of Seita and Setsuko's life, but also a story of a never-ending nightmare that the siblings are already dead, seeing their memories over and over again, reliving every wrong turn and every beautiful and terrible thing that led up to their passing. Okay, so the thing about this urban legend is that it's kind of true and already given. We obviously know that Seita and Setsuko in these shots are dead and are watching themselves. That's just the artistic value in the entire movie. The only thing that is surprising to me that actually didn't cross my mind is the possibility that they are in fact in a repeating loop in purgatory, where they are to forever witness their mistakes. And now that, ladies and gentlemen, is depressing. Just when you think they finally get their peace for being together in the afterlife, they have to go through the same exact thing over and over again for the rest of their lives, or afterlives to be exact. And to that, I say, fuck that shit. Number 5, Whisper of the Heart, Suicide Syndrome. Whisper of the Heart is the romantic tale between two teenagers, Shizuku and of the exact. And to that, I say, fuck. That shit. Number 5, Whisper of the Heart. Suicide Syndrome. Whisper of the Heart is the romantic tale between two teenagers, Shizuku and Seiji, that develop and bloom into a beautiful heart. Fuck that shit. Number 5, Whisper of the Heart, Suicide Syndrome. Whisper of the Heart is the romantic tale between two teenagers Shizuku and Seiji that develop and bloom into a beautiful coming-of-age story. While most adults familiar with this movie watch it with a little bit of nostalgia, some took it a little bit more seriously. Some familiar with this movie watch it with a little bit of nostalgia, some took it a little bit more seriously. Some users in Japan started making forums and discussion boards after the rerun being aired. On these forums, there were groups of people that got together shouting their pain and despair to the rerun being aired. On these forums, there were groups
Look, she's a witch.
groups of people that got together shouting their pain and despair to the world. Now, what caused this sudden action, you may ask? Well, Whisper of the Heart was actually released in 1995 in theaters, and almost anyone during that time who went to the premiere were about the same age as the characters. But now, after watching that movie again, that same audience is now reaching their 30s, which is the age where people become more exposed to many cruel realities of adulthood. And let's just say that watching a movie about two adolescent kids developing a romantic relationship didn't exactly make them feel any better about where their lives ended up. Later, a message board thread was then created with the title that translates to Whisper of the Heart Suicide Center. Here, a variety of messages and comments said things like, "See you guys in the afterlife," or "I feel like I wasted my youth," or even "Time has passed us by." Number 6, Porco Rosso, The Flight Company. The film of Porco Rosso tells the life of a freelance bounty hunter chasing air pirates in the Adriatic Sea who was cursed into an anthropomorphic pig. Porco Rosso at first began as a short film project for Japan Airlines, but eventually grew into a full-fledged film, though Japan Airlines still became a huge contribution to the film's sponsorship. Now, Miyazaki absolutely loved the scene of flying and destroying other airplanes, but Japan Airlines unfortunately encouraged Miyazaki to remove that scene since they were still in a sponsorship. And of course, Miyazaki wasn't exactly happy about this. Number 7, Kiki's Delivery Service, The Yamato Controversy. Like Porco Rosso, Kiki's Delivery Service was heavily sponsored by a delivery company named Yamato Transport. The Japanese title for Kiki's Delivery Service is Maho no Takubin. Takubin was actually a word created by the Yamato company when they started out their door-to-door service. The logo for Yamato also uses the black cat as its mascot, and the reference is pretty obvious here. Before the movie was created, controversy struck between the Yamato Transport and the original author of the book who used the word Takubin without permission. Luckily though, because the movie did so well, Yamato was like, okay, you cool man, you cool, and sponsored the movie. Number 8, Princess Mononoke, The Land of Leprosy. Princess Mononoke follows the struggles between spirits and gods of the forests and the humans who take its resources. Some speculated that the disease that was described in the movie as something incurable was actually Hansen's disease, aka leprosy. There comes a scene where one of the patients describes Lady Eboshi's kindness towards them.
You must not take your revenge on Lady Eboshi. She's the only one who saw us as human beings. We are lepers the world hates and fears us, but she took us in.
Leprosy was not only a disease within itself, but brought multitudes of discrimination to those infected. This urban legend proved to be somewhat true a few years later. And by a few years later, I mean as of January 28, 2016, Hayao Miyazaki made a speech saying that the disease at the time might not have specifically been identified as leprosy, but does carry out the same suffering as leprosy brought. He wanted to emphasize the image of people in the world not being able to live normally because of an incurable disease. And how convenient that this was literally just confirmed a few days ago. I didn't even know that we had a World Leprosy Day. Number 9, Castle in the Sky, the rumored ending. So at the end of Castle in the Sky, where Patsu and Shita cast the destruction spell on Laputa, sorry. The movie ends with all of our characters returning back to Earth and showing what's left of the island. However, the word was that in Japan, when the movie was broadcasted on television, there was an alternative ending. In this ending, viewers said that it contained a scene where Patsu visits Shita in her hometown and another scene showing Shita hiding a crystal in her fireplace. Ghibli officially denied that these endings were ever made and that the people were confused by the illustrations that were shown in a magazine called Animage in the 1985 edition. This magazine held an epilogue to Castle in the Sky 6 months after the film's release. Number 10, Spirited Away, The Insight into the Sex Industry. One of Ghibli's most popular films takes us into Chihiro's adventure through the spirit world to work for the release of her parents. Although this film does truly remain as a story of a girl finding courage within herself, there does exist a secret backstory to this, and that is the inevitable truth that this movie was actually an allegory for prostitution in Japan. Let's quickly look through the clues here. The first clue is that Chihiro changes her name to Sen. A woman changing her name was very common in the sex industry and is still practiced today in brothels of other cultures as well. In Japan, this is called genjina. In the Japanese version, Chihiro is referred to as a yuna, which were girls who specifically served men in both washing and sexual play. The bathhouse that plays as a major setting for the film is also a reference to sento. During the Edo period, these sento were bathhouses that for the film and in both washing and sexual play. The bathhouse that plays as a major setting for the film is also a reference and sexual play. The bathhouse that plays as a major setting for the film is also a reference to Sento. During the Edo
Fun times.
period, these Sento were bathhouses that also offered additional services by selling sex after closing hours to male customers. And the madam that would run these bathhouses was called Yubaba, the name of one of our main antagonists of the film, if you couldn't put that together already. Next we have No Face, who is a character that takes a particular interest in Chihiro. Now, in the innocent mind, most of us would assume he just takes an interest in her simply because she's the one who led him into the bathhouse. But in the backstory, No Face constantly showers Chihiro with riches such as gold and bath tokens, which symbolizes he wants her virginity, and nothing is more valuable in a brothel than taking a girl's virginity. Adding another scene to this, the scene where the stink spirit is taken care of by Chihiro rewards with a token. This is also to symbolize how prostitution works. Because Chihiro got the job done and took care of him, he rewarded her. When Hayao was asked about this, Miyazaki stated that he believed that the most appropriate way to symbolize the modern world is through the sex industry, and that Japanese society has become like the sex industry itself. It's also weird to think that Spirited Away was originally something Miyazaki came up with while camping with his friends and family. Hey guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you guys thought that anything on this list changed your way of looking at any of these Studio Ghibli films, or Studio Ghibli in general, or maybe you thought that some of the stuff on this list was pretty retarded, because to be honest, some of them were actually pretty fucking retarded, then feel free to put it all in the comment section down below. Subscribe to my channel for more anime content, and feel free to stalk my ass on any of these social media links that are in the upcoming outro here, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye! I have promised myself for so long that I was not going to watch this.
Hey, fuck it.
Okay, fine. I'll do it. Recently on TikTok, and yes, I use TikTok.
I like TikTok.
I've come across every now and then that someone is reacting to Japan's most banned anime, and this is called Shoujo Tsubaki.
So this anime that you're looking at right now is actually banned in Japan.
When they say it's pretty messed up, they're not lying.
Do not watch it. Like, it is not worth it. It is not worth the curiosity.
I've known about it for quite some time, and I know that it has to do with this, and many of these other things. But as you grow up with the internet, you figure out that quite quickly that every now and then something dark comes up to the surface and suddenly everyone wants to watch it, such as, you know, back then it was 2 girls in 1 cup. And then eventually everyone was talking about Human Centipede, a Serbian film, Salo, which by the way are all fucked movies. I feel like this isn't going to be on the same level as Boku no Pico, where it's like, it's that thing that we all saw, we all collectively cringed and cried together, and it became this meme and this joke that was run into the ground in 2015. But I feel like with this one, that we're not even going to be able, I'm not going to be able to laugh at this. I first went to Reddit, someone linked it, of course to YouTube, but why would you? Because of course it's fucking banned. So, finally found it. Wish me luck.
目にゴミが入ったよ。
If you want to know why I acted like that, well, I think you would too if you saw someone lick another person's eyeball. Dude, screw that scene! Fucking... the dog.
人間のままで幸せになろうなんて虫が良すぎるんだよ。
Hey guys, Post-Aki here, because I had to walk away to get my thoughts together on how I was going to convey my feelings in great detail, so here it is. The story, it's sad as shit. Like, Joey's gonna come home from his day at the podcast right now, and I feel like I'm not even going to say welcome home to him. I feel like I'm not even going to give him a hug. I'm going to be sitting in the living room with a bowl of rice and nothing else on top. No salt, no meat, no steamed vegetables, no nothing. Because that's exactly how I feel, is nothing. Don't take this the wrong way though. Gore-wise, violence-wise, I think that there is worse out there. Aesthetically-wise, Elfin Lied and Bloodsea had more gore. The thing is that makes this disturbing is the story. The story is just depressing as shit. If you've ever read Metamorphosis and you just thought that maybe something good was going to happen, but it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. Same thing here. So let me tell you guys about the story. So there's this little girl named Midori-chan, and her mom dies over what I'm assuming is an illness. They weren't really clear about that. Here comes this guy who owns a circus and is like, hey, Midori-chan.
Oh, fat bastard. I love band shit. And I love you too.